Good morning to my Piney River Baptist Church friends. I hope you're doing well on this lovely Mother's Day. With any luck, it looks like before long we will be able to congregate again. So we're looking forward to that time. On this Mother's Day, let's consider how would you write a job description for a mother? I gave that some thought this week and came up with something like this. Applicants for the position of mother must understand that this is a permanent position. If you are chosen, resignations will not be accepted and retirement is not offered. Hours are variable, but usually begin upon waking and extend until sleep overtakes you. You will, however, be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Compensation is offered, but only in the form of job satisfaction. Actual money is not given. Most of your work will be repetitive and often quite boring. Boredom will, however, be offset, since you will occasionally be confronted by serious medical, technical, financial, emotional, or mechanical crises in the workplace. Backup may or may not be available. You will be expected to improve conditions in the workplace while those around you consistently work to undermine your efforts. Vacation is offered, but you will be expected to take your work with you. Formal training for your position is not given. However, you are encouraged to take full advantage of on-the-job opportunities. You will at times be ignored, sometimes ridiculed, sometimes, but more often not, appreciated by those for whom you work. Personal sacrifices you make for them will be largely expected and generally taken for granted. Only if you agree to the above conditions will you be considered for the honored position of mother. Being a mother has always been challenging, of course, but the recent days of quarantine have increased those challenges. Trying to monitor her children's education with the online help of dedicated teachers, one exasperated mother asked how soon she could arrange a transfer for her fourth grader to another homeschool. Another observed that nothing ever prepared her for being shushed by a second grader who was having a conversation with his teacher and other students in a Zoom classroom online. Without a doubt, the position of mother is one of the hardest on the planet. It's true, of course, that not all mothers are equally skilled in motherhood. Tragically, some, for whatever reasons, fail miserably as mothers. It may be, in fact, that some of you watching have perhaps had difficulty in overcoming some issues inflicted by your mother. Even the best mothers confess that often they are flying by the seat of their pants, so to speak, when it comes to being a mom. As the tongue-in-cheek job description I shared earlier said, the training is on the job. As has often been observed, children do not come with instruction manuals. There is a place, however, where solid and sound advice is given to mothers and those who aspire to be mothers. It is found in Proverbs chapter 31, where a man who is identified as King Lemuel shares wisdom from his mother. Since King Lemuel is not mentioned elsewhere in the Bible, we are not sure who he was exactly, and it may be that he was a king only in his mother's mind. But for a few minutes this morning, let's consider these words of common sense wisdom. I call them lessons from Lem's mom. First, let's read the passage, which I've abbreviated because of our time constraints. This is from the Living Bible. If you can find a truly good wife, she is worth more than precious gems. Her husband can trust her, and she will richly satisfy his needs. She will not hinder him, but help him all her life. She finds wool and flax and busily spins it. She buys imported foods brought by ship from distant ports. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plan the day's work for her servant girls. Yeah, servant girls. What mother couldn't do all of this if she had a bevy of servant girls around, I guess. But the wisdom continues. She goes out to inspect a field and buys it with her own hands. With her own hands, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic, a hard worker, and watches for bargains. She works far into the night. She sows for the poor and generously helps those in need. She has no fear of winter for her household, for she has made warm clothes for all of them. She also upholsters with finest tapestry. Her own clothing is beautifully made, a purple gown of pure linen. Her husband is well known, for he sits in the council chamber with the other civic leaders. She makes belted linen garments to sell to the merchants. She is a woman of strength and dignity and has no fear of old age. When she speaks, her words are wise, and kindness is the rule for everything she says. She watches carefully all that goes on throughout her household and is never lazy. Her children stand and bless her. So does her husband. He praises her with these words. There are many fine women in the world, but you are the best of them all. Charm can be deceptive, and beauty doesn't last, but a woman who fears and reverences God shall be greatly praised. Praise her for the many fine things she does. These good deeds of hers shall bring her honor and recognition from people of importance, namely her family. Okay, so let's kind of translate some of these things. It's not realistic to think that she's going to buy a field without her husband's knowledge, and some of these other things are dated according to biblical times, of course. So let's try to put them into today's thought. So the first recommendation or the piece of advice is that she is emotionally healthy. She has a sense of her own worth. She is not prideful and certainly not narcissistic, but she does not need others to constantly reinforce her value. In fact, I would say if she becomes aware of something in her own psyche, her own emotional well-being that isn't exactly right, she gets some help for it because she knows that her family's health depends largely on her own emotional health. That said, if a husband and children do not tell her how much they appreciate her, they're being foolish. The second piece of advice, she is trustworthy. Her husband and children can trust what she tells them. She seeks to bless them and wants to see them happy through her own efforts. Verse 23 adds that she adds to the respect others have for her husband. She is not jealous or resentful of the attention he or her children get. In fact, she is gratified when that happens. Point number 3, buying a field without her husband's knowledge, I've mentioned. making her children's winter clothes, upholstering her own furniture, and making designer clothes to sell to local merchants are a little far-fetched in our time. But the point is this: she is hardworking, enterprising, and industrious. 4, she gets up before breakfast to make gets her before dawn to make breakfast for her household. Well, maybe she puts cereal on the table and checks to make sure the expiration date on the milk hasn't passed. But again, the point is she makes provision for her family's needs. She's not a helicopter mother who spies on everything the children do and seeks to control every detail of their lives. But she does carefully watch all that goes on in her household. She puts her family first. 5th, she is compassionate and generous to those around, particularly those who are less fortunate. 6th, she is a woman whose relationship with God gives her strength and dignity. Knowing that God loves her unconditionally and surrounds her with affirmation and acceptance gives her inner peace. And what she does springs from who she is. Lemuel ends with a message appropriate for this Mother's Day. Her children bless her, and so does her husband. Don't just give her a card and a present, but give her something much more important: genuine praise for who she is and what she means to you and your family. The words he puts in the husband's mouth are these: there are many fine women in the world, but you are the best of them all. I like the way the translation called The Message ends this passage. It says, give her everything she deserves, festoon her life with praises. So that's good advice on this Mother's Day. For the woman in your household, that wife and mother, festoon her life with praises. Happy Mother's Day, and God bless you.